Police car light stop. Before you spend another old penny, check it carefully. That ordinary-looking Lincoln wheat penny could be one of the rare coins collectors are searching for, and some valuable wheat pennies have sold for thousands, tens of thousands, or even far more. Welcome back to XCoinUSA. Money. In today's video, we're revealing rare Lincoln wheat pennies worth money, valuable mint marks, hidden mint errors, key dates, and the clues that can separate an ordinary 1-cent coin from a true collector's treasure. So check your pocket change, coin jar, and old penny collection right now, and watch until the end, because you might have a rare wheat penny hiding in plain sight. First up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, is one of those coins that can look completely ordinary at first glance. Yet its story takes us directly into one of the most fascinating periods in American coinage. If you have a 1944 Lincoln cent with no letter beneath the date, you are looking at a Philadelphia mint issue. In 1944, Philadelphia produced approximately 1.435 billion Lincoln wheat cents, making the regular no-mint mark coin a very common wartime issue in circulated condition. But that does not mean every 1944 penny is worth only 1 cent. The real excitement begins when you examine its condition, color, strike, varieties, and especially whether the coin is an unusual error. The 1944 penny was produced during World War II, immediately after one of the strangest experiments in U.S. coinage history. In 1943, the mint replaced the traditional copper alloy cent with zinc-coated steel because copper was needed for the war effort. Those steel cents became famous, but they also created problems, including corrosion and confusion with silver-colored coins. By 1944, the mint returned to a copper-based composition. The regular 1944 Lincoln cent contains approximately 95% copper, with tin and zinc making up the remaining alloy. It has a diameter of 19 millimeters, weighs about 3.11 grams, and has a plain edge. The familiar design was created by Victor David Brenner, with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the 2 wheat ears surrounding 1 cent, and United States of America on the reverse. Now comes the first important detail collectors should understand. The absence of a mint mark on a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is completely normal. Philadelphia traditionally did not place a mint mark on its cents, so a 1944 penny showing only the date and no D or S beneath it is normally a Philadelphia issue. Denver coins carry a D, while San Francisco coins carry an S. The 1944 D had a mintage of about 430.6 million, while the 1944 S had a mintage of about 282.8 million. That means if your coin has no mint mark, do not assume the missing letter itself makes the coin rare. The important question is what else is happening on that particular coin. This is where condition can dramatically change the conversation. A worn 1944 Philadelphia cent is generally a modest value collectible, often worth only a small premium over face value. Published price guides show circulated examples at relatively low values, while higher-grade mint state pieces can bring several dollars or more. But exceptional red specimens are a completely different story. Professional grading companies separate Lincoln cents by color designation: brown or BN, red-brown or RB, and red or RD. A sharply preserved coin retaining its original red color is much more desirable than a heavily circulated brown example. PCGS currently lists a 1944 Philadelphia cent with an auction record of $24,400 for an MS68 RD example sold by Heritage Auctions on January 17, 2026. That auction figure is important, but it should not be misunderstood. It does not mean every 1944 no-mint mark penny is worth thousands of dollars. The huge difference comes from grade, preservation, color, eye appeal, and rarity at the very highest certified grades. One 1944 cent might be worth only a few cents or a small amount in circulated condition, while an exceptionally preserved, professionally graded example can become a serious numismatic prize. PCGS auction records also show a $22,000 result for a high-grade 1944 example in an earlier stack sale, demonstrating just how dramatically the market can separate ordinary examples from elite condition coins. But there is another reason collectors pay close attention to the 1944 date, and this is where the story becomes much more interesting. The famous 1944 steel cent exists. After the mint switched back to copper in 1944, a small number of leftover 1943 steel planchets were apparently struck with 1944 dies. These accidental 1944 steel cents are extraordinarily rare compared with the normal bronze issue. They should not be confused with an ordinary dark or damaged copper penny. A genuine 1944 steel cent has characteristics that can be investigated through weight, appearance, magnetism, surface diagnostics, and, most importantly, professional authentication. PCGS lists the 1944 steel variety separately from the regular 1944 bronze cent. And this is exactly why you should never judge an unusual 1944 penny simply by looking at its color. A damaged copper cent can become dark, gray, or even appear silver-colored because of environmental exposure, cleaning, chemical treatment, or other surface changes. A genuine wrong planchet or off-metal error is a manufacturing event, and determining authenticity requires much more than a visual comparison. If you believe you have a possible 1944 steel cent, resist the temptation to clean it, scratch it, or perform aggressive home tests. Professional authentication can protect both the coin and its potential value. Other errors and varieties can also make a 1944 Lincoln cent more interesting. Collectors examine the date, Liberty, In God We Trust, Lincoln's portrait, and the reverse lettering for signs of doubled dies, die cracks, repunched details, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint-made abnormalities. However, not every unusual-looking mark is a valuable mint error. Machine doubling, scratches, postmint damage, corrosion, and environmental discoloration are frequently mistaken for genuine errors. The difference between a true variety and damage can be extremely important, so strong claims of rarity should always be supported by reputable references or professional attribution. When grading your 1944 wheat penny, start with the major details before worrying about microscopic imperfections. Look at Lincoln's hair and cheek on the obverse, the wheat ears and lettering on the reverse, and the overall sharpness of the strike. Then examine the surfaces for scratches, discoloration, corrosion, cleaning, and signs of heavy wear. A coin graded in the circulated range will show substantial contact and wear, while about uncirculated and mint-state examples retain progressively more original detail. For an uncirculated coin, the difference between a nice example and an exceptional one can be enormous, especially when original red color and strong surfaces are present. One mistake that can destroy collector value is cleaning. If your 1944 Lincoln wheat penny looks dirty, shiny, or discolored, do not polish it with a cloth, chemical, toothpaste, or metal cleaner. Cleaning can leave hairlines and unnatural surfaces that professional graders can recognize immediately. An old coin with attractive original surfaces is generally far more desirable than a coin that has been aggressively polished to look bright. If you think your penny could be rare, preserve it exactly as you found it and consider having it examined by a qualified numismatist or grading service. So what should you look for when you find a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark? First, confirm the date. Second, confirm that there really is no D or S mint mark. Third, determine whether it is the normal copper alloy Philadelphia issue. Fourth, carefully evaluate its condition and original color. Fifth, inspect it for genuine mint errors or varieties. And finally, if something looks truly unusual, especially if the coin appears to be made from steel, do not assume it is valuable and do not assume it is worthless. That is exactly the kind of situation where professional authentication can make all the difference. The normal 1944 Philadelphia wheat penny is common because more than 1.4 billion were struck. But coin collecting is rarely about the date alone. The real story is the individual coin sitting in front of you, its condition, preservation, color, variety, and manufacturing history. Most 1944 no-mint mark cents will not make you rich, but an exceptional high-grade example or a genuine major mint error can be dramatically more desirable. And that is what makes checking old Lincoln wheat pennies so fascinating. Because sometimes the difference between an ordinary 1-cent coin and a valuable collector piece is hidden in details that are almost invisible to the naked eye. Next up, the 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a Philadelphia mint coin, and that detail is the first thing every collector should understand. Unlike Denver and San Francisco cents, Philadelphia Lincoln cents from this period did not carry a mint mark. In 1948, Philadelphia struck approximately 317,570,000 Lincoln wheat pennies, making the no-mint mark version a common issue overall. But common does not mean every 1948 penny has the same value. The moment you start examining condition, original color, strike quality, varieties, and possible mint errors, the story becomes much more interesting. PCGS records the 1948 Philadelphia cent as a 3.11 gram, 19 millimeter coin made from approximately 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, with a plain edge and the classic wheat reverse designed from Victor David Brenner's Lincoln cent design. The year 1948 also places this coin in an important period of American history. World War II had ended only a few years earlier, and the United States was moving into the post-war era. The Lincoln wheat penny still carried the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, surrounded by liberty and "In God We Trust," while the reverse displayed the two wheat ears that gave the series its famous nickname. These wheat cents were produced from 1909 through 1958, making the 1948 issue part of the final decade of the original wheat penny era. And although millions of 1948 cents were produced, collectors today are especially interested in examples that survived with exceptional surfaces and original color. Now look carefully beneath the date. If there is no letter, that does not automatically mean the coin is rare or missing something. On a normal 1948 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat penny, the absence of a mint mark is exactly what you should expect. A D would identify Denver, while an S would identify San Francisco. The Philadelphia issue has no mint mark. For comparison, the 1948 D had a mintage of 172,637,500, while the 1948 S had a mintage of 81,735,000. So if your 1948 penny has no mint mark, you are most likely looking at the Philadelphia issue rather than a rare missing mint mark error. This is where the condition of the coin becomes extremely important. A circulated 1948 no mint mark wheat penny generally has only a modest collector premium, and many ordinary examples can be found for relatively little money. But take the same date and preserve it in exceptional condition, and suddenly the numbers can change dramatically. Collectors evaluate these coins using the standard grading scale, from heavily worn circulated grades all the way through mint state. They also pay close attention to color. Copper Lincoln cents are generally classified as brown, red-brown, or red, abbreviated BN, RB, and RD. A coin that retains strong original red color, clean surfaces, and sharp details can be substantially more desirable than an otherwise identical coin that is dark, scratched, or heavily worn. The auction records show just how dramatic that difference can be. PCGS lists an auction record of $10,350 for a 1948 Philadelphia Lincoln cent graded MS-67, sold by Heritage Auctions on January 3, 2012. PCGS also notes that the 1948 Philadelphia issue becomes extremely difficult to find at the highest mint state levels. Its commentary says MS-65 and higher examples are difficult to locate, while MS-67 examples are almost unheard of, with fewer than 10 examples known in that grade according to the cited expert commentary. That $10,350 result is important, but there is a major warning for anyone searching YouTube or the internet for 1948 wheat penny value. A normal 1948 no-mint mark penny is not automatically worth thousands of dollars. The five-figure auction result belongs to an exceptional, professionally graded specimen, not an ordinary circulated penny found in a jar. Coin values depend on grade, color, preservation, market demand, certification, and the specific characteristics of the individual coin. Current published market information from CoinWorld also shows that ordinary 1948 examples can be worth only small amounts in circulated grades, while premium uncirculated examples can reach much higher values. So what should you inspect on your 1948 Lincoln wheat penny? Start with Lincoln's portrait. Look closely at the hair, cheek, jawline, and coat. On an uncirculated coin, you want strong detail with minimal contact marks. Then move to the reverse and examine the wheat ears, lettering, and overall strike. A coin with strong, crisp details and clean fields is more desirable than one covered in scratches and nicks. Pay special attention to the surfaces around the date and liberty because damage in these highly visible areas can significantly affect eye appeal. Then comes color. A bright red appearance can be attractive, but be careful. Bright does not necessarily mean original. Some old copper coins have been cleaned or chemically altered, and an artificially bright surface can actually reduce collector appeal. Original red color that has naturally survived since 1948 is much more desirable. This is one reason professional grading can become important when a coin appears unusually sharp and well preserved. A certified grade provides an independent assessment of condition and can make a significant difference when comparing an ordinary coin with a potentially elite example. There is another area collectors should investigate: mint errors and die varieties. A 1948 Lincoln cent can become more interesting if it shows a genuine mint-made error such as an off-center strike, clipped planchet, die crack, doubled design elements, or another recognized variety. But this is where caution is essential. A scratch across the date is not automatically a doubled die. A flattened letter is not necessarily a mint error. Postmint damage, machine doubling, corrosion, cleaning, and environmental exposure can create appearances that look unusual but have little or no additional numismatic value. If a suspected error appears significant, authentication from a reputable grading or attribution service is the safest approach. The weight of the coin can also provide useful information. A normal 1948 Philadelphia wheat cent should weigh approximately 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters. If your coin is dramatically different from the expected specifications, that may justify further investigation. However, weight differences can result from wear, damage, corrosion, or scale accuracy, so weight alone does not prove an error. It is simply one piece of evidence in the investigation. And there is one rule that should always be followed when examining an old Lincoln wheat penny: never clean it. Do not polish it, scrape it, rub it with a cloth, or use chemicals to make it look brighter. Cleaning can leave permanent hairlines and unnatural surfaces that collectors and professional graders can detect. If you believe your 1948 penny might be an unusually high-grade specimen or a genuine mint error, preserving the coin exactly as you found it is usually the smarter decision. For a realistic value assessment, think in categories rather than assuming one universal price. An ordinary circulated 1948 no-mint mark wheat penny may bring only a small amount above face value. Better circulated examples can bring more, while attractive uncirculated coins may command several dollars or considerably more depending on grade and color. At the very top of the grading scale, certified examples have demonstrated that the value can rise into the hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The documented $10,350 MS-67 auction record proves that exceptional specimens can be dramatically different from everyday examples, but it should never be used as the expected value for every 1948 penny. The real opportunity with a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is therefore not simply finding the correct date. It is finding an unusually well-preserved example, a strong red specimen, or a genuine mint error hiding among ordinary coins. With more than 317 million Philadelphia cents struck, most examples are not rare, but the surviving population becomes much smaller when you ask for exceptional grade, strong original color, minimal marks, and outstanding eye appeal. That is why collectors continue examining old wheat pennies decades after they left the mint. So when you find a 1948 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, don't immediately dismiss it, and don't immediately assume you've discovered a fortune either. Check the date, confirm the Philadelphia issue, weigh it carefully if necessary, inspect the surfaces, study the strike, look for legitimate errors, and evaluate the color and condition. The ordinary 1948 wheat penny may be inexpensive, but an exceptional certified example can tell a very different story. And sometimes, in coin collecting, that tiny difference in condition is exactly what separates a coin worth a few cents from a coin that becomes a serious numismatic prize.